Ghostreport! What is up? Tammy, Matthew, Carol, Julissa, Lisa Boo. How's everyone doing? Happy 4th of July for those who celebrate. We'll wait for a few people to trickle in. So how has your day been? Let me fix this a bit. Pardon me while I fix the camera angle a bit. Sorry about that, guys. All right. Brandon, how's it going? It was hot today. That's all I had to say. Actually, no, it was actually cooler than they said it was, but it's still hot. It's hot in here. But we'll wait for a few minutes for people to trickle in here. Did anyone do anything interesting today while we wait? Joanne, how's it going? Brandon goes, Bojack is on my lap because of the fireworks, but he loves the wolf pack. Oh, super cool. I know fireworks, animals cannot stand fireworks. So far, it's been quiet here, but then they are illegal here. So, and we don't really have the city used to put out a 4th of July show, but they haven't in the last couple of years. I don't know for what. But it's been quiet, which is a good thing. We do not want fireworks in this area, especially when there's a lot of hills. Gunner Girl, what is up? Emily, how's it going? Confident Chris's finger, how's it going? Welcome. Joanne goes, eye surgery tomorrow morning. I hope it goes well, Joanne. Everything goes smooth. Brandon goes, I'll be seeing y'all in a few weeks' time. Yes, because Mad Monster is next weekend, actually. No, it's next weekend. Not this weekend, but next weekend. Yeah, it's next weekend, Brandon. Next weekend. I will be seeing some of you at Mad Monster in Arizona. They did add a few while I wait for people to trickle in, guys, before I get into the UFOs and the articles that I have. They did add Sid from Slipknot. If you guys are familiar, I guess he's a DJ too. I didn't know Slipknot had a DJ, but I guess apparently he does. He's the DJ of Slipknot, but he does DJ on the side too as DJ Starscream. He's named after his favorite Transformer. Gunner Girl, thank you for that super chat. Get some coffee. Happy 4th. Thank you, Gunner Girl. Hearts for Gunner Girl. Thank you, Gunner Girl. I appreciate that. He does DJ, but I haven't been able to find a video of him just DJing because I was like, okay, so what does he DJ? Or what does he mix, I should say. They did add him, but he's only going to be there for Saturday only. They added some other person that I cannot remember at the moment. Give me a second, guys, because I wasn't going to talk about it, but why not? While we're waiting for people to come in. They added Keith Coogan, which was the kid in Adventures of Babysitter and Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. And then they added Darren Ewing from Trolls 2, Sis, Return to Halloween Town. And that looks about it. Emily, thank you for gifting 1 membership. Hearts for Emily, guys, and welcome Confident Chris's finger to the Wolf Pack. Hearts for Emily and our new Wolf Pack member. Welcome. And he's also, or he or she is also new to the channel as well. She. I apologize because I'm not sure sometimes with these names, but thank you. And I don't want to be mistaken. All right. I'm not sure if you guys heard before we get into the UFOs that there was a monolith again that appeared in Colorado. But apparently when I was looking for the article, it was removed. And it was removed because it was getting too much traffic. By by the person that owns the land. He actually removed it. So the Colorado monolith torn down by the landowner, and if you're familiar with the monoliths, they've been popping up. There was one that was popped up in California. There's one recently in Vegas. One in Utah, I believe, was last year. There's been some in Europe. No one knows who's been placing these monoliths. Some people think it's aliens. I think it's just a person that has a lot of money and just wants to make a statement. But because of the way the monolith, it resembles, like if you guys are familiar with 2001 Space Odyssey, it's kind of similar to that. Aliens, we have a problem. The Colorado monolith is no more. The shine of the Bellevue monolith has worn off, and the private landowner removed the popular pillar Wednesday morning from the hilltop where it sat since it mysteriously appeared June 23rd. The Coloradoan was the first to report the monolith's appearance. The final decision to remove it was the overwhelming influx of people who came to see it, Lori Graves, who owns the property with husband Rob Graves, told the Coloradan on Wednesday morning. If the creator would like to have it back, they can email the cafe. We will keep it, but are not sure what we are going to do with it. Lori Graves said the monolith has been good for business at the Howling Cow Cafe, which the Graves own and is adjacent to the hill on which the monolith was erected. But she said the popularity of the reflective monolith has caused damage to the hill on which it sits by trespassers who have left trash. She had said she does not know who placed the monolith on the hill. She said a trail has been worn to the top of the knob by people hiking to get close-up views of the 9-foot tall, 4-foot wide, 8-inch deep reflective structure. So Wednesday morning, a worker took a grinder to cut the bolts that attached the monolith to a concrete slab and used a front end loader with forks to haul the structure away. So this monolith is bolted to the ground on a cement slab. What? How do they have time to do that? She said the decision to remove the monolith Wednesday was done before the expected hordes of people came to see it over the long 4th of July holiday weekend. She estimated 800 to 1,500 people came to view the monolith last week. The crowd got so out of hand that she had people stationed at a gate near the monolith to open it so vehicles could park and see the structure, not block the narrow paved country road. Since then, she said the gate has been locked and no trespassing signs have been placed along the fence line. I completely understand why other monoliths have been removed, she said. Everyone wants to look, but not everyone wants to do it respectfully, which I get. I understand. She said having the monolith was fun while it lasted, but a return to normalcy in the quiet foothills northwest of Fort Collins will be welcomed. As much as I liked it, it really is kind of a relief, especially going into the holiday weekend and knowing how many people would have shown up, she said. We can have our little peaceful spot back. So they basically removed it because people, too much traffic and people were not respecting their surroundings by leaving trash, which I don't blame her. I would have done the same thing. But then I also don't blame people because they want to see it. But people, clean up after yourselves. Come on. Lisa Boo goes on private property too. Not cool. Exactly. Like I had no idea because the other monoliths, no one had ever removed them, like personally removed them, like the property owner here did. Usually they just disappear. So I had no idea that it was actually bolted to the freaking ground. That's crazy. Like, and no one knows who puts it there. So where do they get the time to do the concrete slab and then bolt it down without like no one noticing? Like, what the hell? I don't blame people to want to see it because just heck, I would have been one of them if I lived in the area watching it. So, but it is no more. So I'm wondering where the next one's gonna appear. Hopefully they don't put it. Hopefully they learn their lesson and won't put it on private property. What do you guys think it is? I don't think it's aliens, to be honest with you. I don't think it's it is a mystery though, but I don't think it is aliens. I think it's someone with a lot of money, like Christian Grey money. And I mentioned him because I rewatched the 50 Shades trilogy. Um Christian Grey rich that has their own fleet of helicopters and equipment that can bring it in, and then I don't know how they go unscathed without being noticed. It's crazy. What do you guys think it is? I know I asked you the last time I was talking about it, but what do you guys think it is? Do you think it's some artsy person, someone trying to make a statement, or someone like rich that just wants to get attention? Or do you think it is aliens? Chris goes, it's probably an artist. The hell? How did my watch face change? What the heck? My watch has a mind of its own. Chris goes, it's probably an artist or something. Tammy goes, it's a person that does it. I mean, we want to think that it's aliens. Come on. How cool would that be? Aliens putting monoliths. Some I mean, you could think of it as a what? What would you think a monolith is? Like a communication device or like a signal? I don't know what how I would think of it alien term wise, but I mean, I know we want to believe it's aliens, but it in reality, no. Julissa goes, yes, that's what I'm thinking, not aliens. Carol goes, he wasn't a good neighbor. He moved away last year or the year before, but the damage has been done. He even. What the heck happened, Carol? Wow, Carol goes, okay, that's why it didn't make sense. Carol goes, my dog was fine with the loud noises until my ex neighbor shot at her. Now she hides. What? He wasn't a good neighbor. He moved away last year or the year before, but the damage has been done. He even shot toward our house across the road, which isn't cool. That is not cool. Pardon my French, but F him. That is not cool at all. Gunner Girl goes, remember the movie with Mel Gibson and Joaquin Phoenix? I forgot what it's called, but signs. They dealt with these circles in their yard. Signs. Matthew goes, oh no, that's how Maximum Overdrive started. Emily thinks it's Elon Musk and he's getting bored with his satellites and rockets. Carol, I'm glad he moved away and you don't have to deal with that. That is not cool at all. Heather, whatever. What is up? How's it going? All right, I got one more article, guys, before I get into the crap circles and if it is proof of alien existence. For those of you who are new to the beat, I do believe on life on other planets. I'm just a bit skeptical with aliens. Don't get me wrong, I love aliens. I love the idea of aliens. I find it plausible that it is a possibility that they're coming here, but I'm still a little skeptical because unfortunately I'm not one of the lucky ones that have spotted a UFO in the sky. I'm hoping to one day. But kind of a quidinky dink, but there was also a UFO spotted over a Colorado concert. Um, which is it's cool. It's a concert venue I've always wanted to go to. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Red Rocks. I've heard that it's a beautiful venue. It's one that I've always wanted to go to. A UFO was spotted above a concert venue in Colorado. A witness has reported unidentified flying objects have long captured imaginations across the country, with the U.S. government reportedly receiving dozens of sightings reports each month as of last year. On June 5th, an unnamed employee of the Red Rocks Amphitheater in Morrison said they saw a large disc-shaped craft above the venue. The employee said the aircraft hovered silently and then disappeared into thin air. According according to a report submitted to the National UFO Reporting Center, a nonprofit that documents alleged sightings of UFOs and alien contacts. I was working at Red Rocks Amphitheater last night when one of our coworkers suddenly said to us, "Hey, what is that over there? It looks like a spaceship," the employee said in the report. We all turned to look in the direction he was pointing, and sure enough, there was a UFO hovering about a half a mile to a mile north of Red Rocks. They continued. A dozen of us saw it. We all kept asking each other, are you seeing it too? It was resounding yes from everyone in the group. So this is a picture of the Red Rocks Amphitheater in Morrison, Colorado. I heard it's a very beautiful venue. It is an open air venue. And allegedly, this is where an employee had seen the UFO. The employee said the sighting lasted about 30 seconds and described the UFO as having 3 levels of windows, almost like a really long 3-story office building. They also said that as soon as they noticed the floating craft, it tipped at an angle, began moving away, and soon became invisible. This was not a plane. It wasn't a satellite, a drone, or anything like that. There was no mistaking what this was. We all saw a giant disc-shaped craft hovering a few hundred feet above the ground with 3 rows of windows and lights. Then we all saw it fade into nothing as soon as it knew it was being watched. There were a dozen other people who saw it with me. The National UFO Reporting Center has processed more than 170,000 reports since its founding in 1974, the company's website said. The subject of UFO sightings have generated even more public interest than usual since 2022, when the government established the all-domain anomaly resolution office to investigate reports of unidentified anomalous phenomena. A major congressional hearing in July of 2023 further with Gresh, if you guys are familiar with that one, further fueled the intrigue as one witness alleged that the government had concealed research into the sightings, which Pentagon officials denied. Of course, they're going to deny it. A Pentagon report from March said U.S. government investigations have found no evidence of extraterrestrial technology and that most sightings were misidentified ordinary objects. So, guys, what do you think this was? Do you think the employees at Red Rock actually saw a UFO? And as thank you, Chris, for reminding me, Skeleduck is somewhere in my background, just somewhere in this background. Just remind me at the end of the stream, because I will forget. I have forgot. So just remind me at the end of the stream and I will reveal his location. If you are new to my channel, Skeleduck is pictured in the upper right hand corner. He is literally a Skeleduck. So just remind me and I will reveal his location at the end of the stream. Just remind me. Chris Barber goes, no, exactly. There was no pictures. I was going to say, if I saw that, I would have had video. That's the first thing I would have pulled out. I'd be like, wait a minute. And then I would pull out my camera or my phone. Have anybody been to Red Rocks? Just out of curiosity. It is, like I said earlier, it is a venue I would like to go to one day. He's kind of visible. He's kind of in an easy place today because I could see all of y'all saying you've seen it. You see him. And there's no Chris Barber goes, there's no pictures, there's no video, there's not even a still. But even if there was video or still, I kind of have a problem with believing it because there's too many people editing things into video nowadays, so it's kind of hard to believe unless I've seen it myself. So Chris Barber goes, depends on the show. Some bands don't allow phones. True. I know some DJs. There's a place in Ibiza that is not allowing cell phones. It's the actual venue, not the DJ, but I think some of the DJs are backing it up. One of them, you're probably not familiar with him because I don't talk about music, is James Hype. And my understanding, he got his popularity through social media. So the fact that he supports no cell phones, I know some people had pointed that out, is kind of insane when your career was started upon social media. So to each his own, I guess. I mean, I don't feel like the phones take away from the experience because I don't normally pull out my phone unless it's something, oh my god, the song's amazing and I want to show it. But most of the time I am, paying attention. Heather Salvatore, what is up? Brandon goes, I used to watch an Incubus DVD where they performed there and practiced that set every day after school on guitar and my friend on drums. That is super cool. Heather Salvatore goes, I have been to Red Rocks. Cool. I know DJs go there too, to Red Rocks as well. Carol goes, that place looks awesome. I would love to see a concert there. It's probably a good one to go in the summertime because it is open. Looks beautiful. I've heard it's beautiful. One day, it's on my bucket list. So have any of you come across a crop circle? I haven't. I live in SoCal. Not much. I mean, I guess we do. I do have a hill behind me, but it's not like farmland in this area. So I have not come across a crop circle. Tammy goes, nope. I mean, I've seen them in pictures. I think they're cool, but Julissa goes, I've never seen one in person. People believe that crop circles are made by aliens. Let's find out here. What are crop circles, and are any of them actually made by aliens? Large patterns of flattened crops and other plants. Crop circles are breathtaking when viewed from above, but that doesn't mean they have extraterrestrial origins. So this is a picture of a crop circle in Chipping Norton, Oxfordshire, England. They're super awesome. I find them interesting. From the 1960s to the 80s, perhaps no term was more commonly associated with UFOs and extraterrestrial visitations than crop circles. As the name suggests, crop circles are massive circular areas of flattened crops, usually wheat or corn or other plants, which depict seemingly intentional shapes and other images when seen from above. Crop circles amaze many people due to the large size of the indentations and the images they depicted. It's little wonder why they led to speculations about alien craft landing on Earth. After all, some indentations appear to mark where saucers had once rested, and others seem to be messages from extraterrestrial beings like those used in the thriller movie Sign. Gunner Girl had mentioned signs. Also, too, as this article has said, that even with the Las Vegas aliens, they had said that there was a mark left in their lot, a circular mark left in their lot. But in the early 1990s, crop circles fever was reaching its boiling point. Two drunk Englishmen proved that it didn't take an advanced civilization or technology beyond humanity's comprehension to create crop circles. In fact, all it required was a bit of liquid courage, heavy planks of wood, and some rope. Today, crop circles are far less likely to be seen as a phenomenon, and they've evolved into more of a pop culture motif than anything else. In 2018, Spotify even conducted a viral campaign to promote country artists by creating crop circles of their likeness. Despite this, some ufologists insist that at least some crop circles were made by non-human beings. However, the evidence isn't as convincing as paranormal enthusiasts may have hoped. That said, believers and skeptics can agree on one thing: crop circles are stunning forms of landscape art. So, guys, do you believe that a crop circle could be from aliens? What's up, Nerd Report? Nerd Report in the house. Heather, whatever goes, I know there were a bunch of fake ones. Thank you, Heather, whatever, for your PayPal. Hearts for Heather, whatever. Thank you, Heather, whatever. I appreciate it. And she says hi. Thank you, Heather, whatever. Hearts for Heather, whatever, guys. Chris Barr goes, maybe. Gunner Girl goes, I don't think aliens make those circles. Nobody has seen anything make those. I think farmers make them. Julissa goes, I still believe they're human-made. Heather Salvatore goes, no, I have video footage from last year. I don't think it's aliens. I want to believe that possibly it could be, but I don't think it is aliens. I don't. Heather, whatever goes, bored farmers. The first historical mention of crop circles. Matthew goes, only time I saw a thing make them, it was CGI. Because, yes, with computers, you could just take a picture of a field and add whatever you want to it. So, yes, makes perfect sense with that route, too, as well. And Heather Salvatore goes, wind and weather. Yes. Interestingly enough, the earliest known historical mention of a crop circle, albeit not by that specific name, emerged in 1678, well before the age of science fiction and a widespread fascination with worlds beyond our own. The reference appeared in a pamphlet from England entitled The Mowing Devil, or Strange News, out of Hertfordshire. According to the pamphlet, a disgruntled farmer was engaged in an argument with one member of his hired help. During the argument, the farmer told the worker that he would rather the devil mow his field than pay the worker to do the job. Then, the next night, the pamphlet claimed, and lo, it fell out that very night the crop of oats, hued as if it had been all of a flame, but next morning appeared full neatly mowed by the devil, or foam internal spirit, that no mortal man was able to do the like. Alfo, how the laid oats, or fade oats, lie now in the fields, and the owner has not power to fetch them away. So this is the pamphlet, said pamphlet, a picture of it. So this is often described, this pamphlet was described as the first historical reference to crop circles. And mind you, this was in 1678. In other words, the farmer crops have been mowed in the shape of spiraling circles that were so precise it would have been impossible for an ordinary man to complete them in one night. The farmer, so disturbed by what had transpired, dared not disturb the perfectly mowed circle. The chilling story left the people of 17th century England as baffled then as people would be hundreds of years later, when they heard about the bizarre flattening of crops in farmers' fields once again. The Tully UFO nest, Australia's first big encounter with crop circles. Matthew goes, would think real ones from an alien, it would stay like that no matter how much you try to make it grow in that spot. I agree with you. Truth. That does make sense, Matthew. It shouldn't it shouldn't disappear. I totally agree. That's a good one, Matthew. Carol goes, I know that there was a group of people with rope and 2x4s. We're making some of them. Carol goes, I would need more proofs. I'm with you there, Carol. Same here. References to crop circles or possible crop circles were relatively scarce before the 20th century. And it wasn't until the 60s that the modern idea of crop circles became an international phenomenon. In 1966, an Australian banana farmer named George Pedley allegedly witnessed something bizarre on his property near Tully. Pedley claimed to have seen a flying saucer lifting off, leaving behind a large circular area of flattened plants in the exact same spot where the UFO had landed. Dubbed a saucer nest, Pedley's crop circle was not an isolated event. All around the Tully region, locals began reporting more saucer nest sightings, including cane farmer Tom Warren and school teacher Hank Penny. Had anyone asked me 5 days ago if I believed in flying saucers, I'd have laughed and thought they were nuts, Pedley told a local news correspondent. But now I know better. I have actually seen a spaceship. These alleged sightings of saucer nests are believed to be some of the first modern references to crop circles as places where UFOs purportedly landed. The first reported nests were rather simple in design, circles, nothing more, but years later, increasingly complex crop circles made their debut. So this was actually in a newspaper about the Tully nest that appeared in 1966 in Tully, Queensland, Australia. When crop circles started to appear across southern England. Antone, how's it going? About a decade after the Tully nest appeared in Australia, farmers across southern England began to notice similar patterns in their own fields. It started in Wiltshire, England. There had been much buzz about flying saucers in the region, and the town of Warminster gradually became a hub for skywatchers, events dedicated to searching the skies for UFOs. Naturally, rumors began circulating, and those who had heard about the UFO nest in Tully claimed that the phenomenon had made its way to England. When a striking crop circle appeared in the country in 1976, it seemed that the rumors were true, but in reality, this saucer nest had more earthly origins. It had been created by two men, Doug Bauer and Dave Chorley. Pictured here in this picture is Doug Bauer. He's the famous crop circle creator who started a phenomenon in England with his friend Dave Chorley. Bauer and Chorley had been inspired to create their own saucer nest after discussing the Tully nest over a few pints at a local pub. And according to the Smithsonian Magazine, they quickly put their plan into action. One night in 1976, Bauer turned to Chorley and said, let's go over there and make it look like a flying saucer had landed. The two men did their work at night. After all, they wouldn't want to be caught stamping down a farmer's crops. And the next morning, news spread across southern England that strange circles had appeared in a wheat field. Many believed they had been the work of extraterrestrial visitors. How Doug Bauer and Dave Corley pulled off a prank that fooled a nation. I mean, hey, it's all fun and games. Why not? Doug Bauer, and if you have the time to do it, because I feel like that takes a long time to do. Doug Bauer and Dave Corley's earliest nests were simple. The two men used planks of wood with ropes attached to both ends to stamp out the circles in the field, holding the ropes with their hands while pressing down on the planks with their feet. But once they got used to the process, the pranksters started creating more complex and striking crop circles. The patterns started to take on intricate shapes, all planned ahead of time by the Englishmen, leading to further speculations about the supposed meaning behind them. Ufologists tried to decipher the alien language that was apparently being pressed into the field, while other theorists turned to even stranger explanations, suggesting that Mother Earth herself was trying to send messages to humanity through the crop circles. All the while, Bauer and Corley were laughing it up. Each time a new crop circle was discovered, Bauer and Corley would be among those in the crowd, marveling at their own handiwork and how they had fooled people. So this is the technique. This is Doug Bauer again, and it's a picture of him demonstrating how him and Dave Corley made their crop circles or nests. In due time, copycat crop circles began emerging all over the world. Doug Bauer and Dave Corley finally confessed to being the masterminds behind the extraterrestrial phenomenon in 1991, a full 15 years after they started, when they spoke to a reporter named Graham Bro or Borough. I spent a week getting them to show me how they had done it all, and I have never laughed as much in my life, Graham later recalled in an interview with the New York Times. The prevailing wisdom at the time was that aliens were about to land any day, but it had all been kicked off by these two blokes who'd have a couple of pints at their favorite pub and then head out in the night to have a bit of fun. Bauer and Corley's confession came as a massive shock to ufologists who had been writing about crop circles and their supposed meanings for years. Such was the case with author Pat Delgado, who had once claimed that crop circles were certainly a sign of a higher intelligence. To Delgado's credit, when he was presented with the truth, he admitted that he had been fooled and even recognized Bauer and Corley, since they were always among the first to arrive when a new crop circle was found. That said, not everyone came around quite as easily as Delgado. Some people still think certain crop circles were created by aliens. Rob Irwin, I mean, come on, how cool. I mean, we're earning, we have that urge that, yes, please have aliens walk on this earth, that people are going to hold on to that belief that that even after hearing about Corley and Doug, that they still want to believe. Rob Irving, a fellow crop circle creator who started his handiwork in 1989, summed it up best. The people who wanted to keep believing in aliens and everything else just ignored the evidence, no matter how obvious it was. Some authors, like Delgado and his co-author Colin Andrews, had made quite a good living writing about crop circles throughout the years. Naturally, some of these authors would want the phenomenon to continue. So this is ufologist and author Colin Andrews, who claimed to have invented the term crop circles in 1983. Nikki Bella, what is up? Antoine, I do agree with you. Want to know what's more terrifying than crop circles? Cattle mutilation. Yes, that is terrifying. If you ever came across that. I've never came across that myself, but I agree with you. I totally agree with you. Andrews has claimed that people like Irving, Corley, and Bauer have caused harm with their antiques. He pointed out there is no proof that all crop circles are man-made, and even if they are, he insisted that those who created them were prompted by an independent non-human mind. Meanwhile, across the pond, the Independent Crop Circle Researchers Association in the US and the Canadian Crop Circle Research Network have been established to further investigate crop circles in North America, although the last major in-person investigation in the US was in 2012. The international fascination with crop circles seemed to slowly trickle off around the turn of the century, but some still argue to this day about their nature, with a newer theory connecting crop circles to ley lines and visible pathways that allegedly link historic sites around the world, though the efficacy of that argument largely depends on whether you believe in ley lines in the first place. Some have also compared crop circles to the mysterious Nazca lines, which are groups of 2,000-year-old geoglyphs in Peru. Amazingly, does this hyperlink? Ooh, it does hyperlink. Amazingly, people are still creating crop circles and they remain a draw for curious tourists today, many of whom simply want to see stunning landscape art. As recently as July of 2023, the BBC has reported that a large number of these circles are still appearing in Wiltshire 380 since 2005. While most paranormal enthusiasts today admit that many crop circles are definitely man-made, some also contest, perhaps hopefully, that some of these circles could have been created by beings from another planet. So guys, I know I asked you, but after this article, are you holding on to the belief that some of them may be created by aliens and some are man-made, or do you think they're just all man-made? Heather Salvatore goes, sorry, if my friends and I had beers, we would have A, left beer bottles all over, B, toilet paper all over, and C, never made well-organized crop geo patterns. That would be me without the beer. Emily, thank you for gifting another membership. Welcome, Just Lioness Zen, to the Wolf Pack. You were gifted a membership by Emily. Hearts for Emily, and welcome to our new Wolf Pack member. Thank you, Emily. I appreciate that. Chris goes, probably all man-made. I'm wondering, because I think, what did it say? The first crop circle was in 1693, I believe it said. Hold on, let me look. 1678. So in 1678, I mean, obviously the guys only used a plank of wood and rope, so it's still possible in 1678. But that kind of makes me question it too. But it's a simple process, so I think a man could have made it in 1678 as well. Heather Salvatore, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. Welcome, Honey 2800, Brian Wilson, Marissa, Senior Space Gusto, Eastern Arkansas Transparency, hearts for Heather Salvatore, and all the new Wolf Pack members. Thank you, Heather. I do appreciate that. You are awesome as well. An awesome name, Senor Space Gusto. I like your name. It's awesome. And what's up, Eastern Arkansas Transparency? Carol goes, I don't believe all are man-made because of weather, but I still need more proof of the aliens doing them. I'm with you, Carol. I want to believe. I've always wanted to believe. I'm always open about it, but I do need more proof. Like, I need to see it with my own eyes. If I see it with my own eyes, then I'd be more open to it, but I have not. I mean, obviously in California, we're not going to see many crop circles, at least in SoCal, because there's not that many open areas anymore like there used to be, because here in SoCal, they try to build houses on every open land as possible. But I'm with you on that one, Carol. I do need some more proof. And I am jealous of those people that have experienced something extraterrestrial, because I would love to see a UFO and talk about my experience. I would. Just no probing. Heather Salvatore goes, Tom has drone coverage in the Rye from last year. I mean, they're cool looking. They're cool to look at. And the person, I'm wondering, because it doesn't say how long it took them to do it. So I'm wondering how long it took those two men to make a crop circle, because I can imagine it doesn't take a few seconds to do. It probably takes some time. And especially making cool designs and stuff. But I don't fault the man in 1698, I believe it was, for being afraid of the crop circle. Antone goes, what about the Battle of Los Angeles? Has anyone ever debunked that event? I am not sure. I have to look into that. Never heard of it. Sounds like a video game. So, that article mentioned the Nazca lines, and there's an article about it. Carol goes, if it is extraterrestrial, I would think they are used as a navigation system of some sort. Possibility. And like Matthew had said earlier, I would think that they would last longer or be permanent, kind of, if a UFO did it. I wouldn't, unless the UFO landed on the field. I mean, this is just talking out of my butt, but if a UFO landed, say like it landed like in a cornfield for an hour or two, and the aliens came out to investigate, like we would if we went anywhere unknown, and they got samples, whatnot, went back into their UFO, flew off, and that is what's left from the bottom of the UFO landing. So like an imprint of that. But I would think, like Matthew had mentioned, that it would be permanent. Chris Barber goes, the locals did the Nazca line. There is an article that, because they hyperlinked it. So the Nazca lines, which I had never heard of until I had read that, is in Peru. Since being discovered in 1926, the Nazca lines, hopefully I'm pronouncing it properly, have inspired countless theories about their origin. Are they extraterrestrial? A message from ancient civilizations, or something more sinister? Some 250 miles south of Lima, Peru, not far from the shores of the Pacific Ocean, there is a great arid plain, the site of one of the world's oldest mysteries. Across 170 square miles of flat earth, the hard red soil is broken only by a series of strange furrows. They aren't deep, usually breaking just 6 to 12 or so inches into the ground, and most aren't especially wide. The majority span just a foot or so of dry ground, but they are long. So, I guess this is one of the Nazca lines. It's the condor, one of the 70 plant and animal geoglyphs that make up Peru's Nazca lines. That is cool, actually. Some trenches go on for as much as 30 miles, slashing great parallel lines across the desert. Others turn in on themselves, spiraling like the whorls of a giant fingerprint. And some seem to follow no discernible pattern at all. The first travelers who stumbled upon them in the 1500s, though they were the remnants of roads, vast, complicated roads from a bygone civilization. It wasn't until 1927 that the truth was discovered. Peruvian archaeologist Toribio Mejia Expi was making his way up a series of nearby hills when he glanced down and saw the furrows in the valley below. The desert grooves, he realized, weren't the ruins of ancient roads at all. They were a set of massive images, symbols carved into the earth, so big that they were unrecognizable from ground level. So began almost a century of investigations as archaeologists and amateur enthusiasts alike tried to make sense of one of the world's greatest mysteries, the Nazca lines. Panda Bear, what is up? Emily goes, I think it would be kind of arrogant to think we're the only beings in this endless universe, but I still want to see it with my own eyes. I agree. Like I said earlier, Emily, I do believe that there are life on other planets. I just need to see it with my own eyes, type of thing. To be more, I want to believe, I'm open to it. I find it plausible, but there's that thing that goes, you know what? There's technology. Some people, not, I'm not saying that all people want, attention, but there's some people that do. People want attention. People want, I don't know, they just want that notoriety, so they make up a story. Uh, and then obviously with videos and photos right now, how easy it is to, add something to it. It's hard to um believe. So did aliens create Peru's Nazca lines? So this is another one, and it's a biomorph depicting a monkey, which I think those are pretty cool. I'm sorry, those are cool. Given the astonishing size and complexity of the designs in Peru's Rio Grande de Nazca River Basin, it comes as no surprise that supernatural explanations of the symbols have been popular. Proponents of paranormal theories claim that the Nazca, the indigenous people credited with creating the lines some 2,000 years ago, couldn't possibly have etched the design in the earth without being able to fly. It's only from directly overhead, they say, that some of the designs are truly visible. Aliens are a popular choice for their helpers. Others say the Nazca built the lines themselves, but with extraterrestrial instructions, perhaps to create landing strips and runways for alien spacecrafts, or to attract aliens with images big enough to be visible from space. As evidence, fans of the alien theory point to some of the more unusual Nazca biomorphs, the name of the etchings that depict forms found in nature, like humans, insects, birds, fish, trees, and flowers. A popular example is the biomorph card called the astronaut, a human figure with a bulbous head like a man in a spacesuit. So this is the humanoid figure nicknamed the astronaut. It looks like the Michelin Man. Kind of. It does. A thin Michelin Man. Swiss author Eric von Dinken was convinced some of the biomorphs depict aliens themselves, an idea he popularized in his 1968 book, Chariots of the God. The book capulated Peru's Nazca lines to prominence among conspiracy theorists, and the discovery of Nazca bodies only fed the legend. The Nazca, who inhabited the arid valleys of the Rio Grande de Nazca River Basin from around 100 BCE to 800 CE, practiced mummification. As a result, archaeologists have found a number of well-preserved bodies, sometimes in unusual conditions. Most notable is a distinct and unnatural elongation of the skull in some of the corpses. Then, too, there were the mysterious three-fingered mummy, which made a splash in June of 2017 as excited researchers announced their belief that the latest body might not be human at all. Chris Barber goes no to aliens. Heather whatever goes, since the sightings I had were near bases, who knows their origin? And then Heather whatever also added ancient board farmers. Chris said, I was going to say the Stay Puff Marshmallow Man as well. Matthew goes, Expedition Unknown had plenty on the lines, more like human and nothing to do with aliens. That's what I'm thinking, because the article had said that you need like the only way they could have done the design is through if you had an aerial view of it. I've seen people put help me on the ground because they were stranded. I think it was recent too. They were stranded in the mountains and they put a help me sign. And you could, I think it's still possible to be able to do a design without seeing it overhead. The truth about the Nazca lines. So with here's a picture of the elongated skulls of the Paracus, an ancient civilization that slightly predated the Nazca in the Rio Grande. I don't know why I want to say Grande de Nazca River Basin. So did aliens play a role in the creation of the Nazca lines? Probably not. I didn't think so. Even if you're inclined to believe in the existence of aliens who visit Earth, there's not a lot of reason to suspect that they had a hand in this particular mystery. That's because when it comes to the how of the Nazca lines in Peru, there's not really anything left to solve. Unlike the pyramids and Stonehenge, which both raise lingering questions about how the ancients who built them achieved such technological difficult feats, the Nazca lines can clearly be made with technology available before the common era. So here's another Nazca. This one's a depiction of a spider. That is super cool. The Nazca simply raked back the top layer of rocky soil, which thousands of years of weathering had turned a deep brownish red to reveal the lighter yellow sand underneath. The difference in colorization creates distinctive lines that are visible for miles. To get the proportions of their design right, the Nazca could have created small models that used stakes, some of which had been found, and ropes to scale them up. While the Nazca lines looked best from the window of an airplane, all of them are also perfectly visible from elevated land, like the plains surrounding foothills, including the one Peruvian archaeologist XP was hiking up when he spotted the glyphs. The Nazca could have easily directed operations or checked much of their work from nearby hills. Even the design longevity is easily explained. The plain the Nazca inhabited is so arid that it almost weatherless. Few winds disturb its soil, and the region's average precipitation tops out at 4 millimeters per year. As a result, furrows dug thousands of years ago have remained virtually untouched. No alien intervention was needed either during construction or after. This one is the this one is a one that doesn't depict animals, but it is a glyph of a stylized tree. As for the astronaut biomorph, it's also known by another name, the giant. It's not hard to imagine that the Nazca stylized their images of people in the same way they deviated from reality with their animals, by enlarging some portions like the head and shrinking others. But what about the bodies? Archaeologists have a pretty good fix on those too. The three-fingered mummy is widely believed to be a hoax cobbed together by foragers from real mummified Nazca remains. The the elongated skulls of the Nazca mummies are absolutely real, but they, like the Nazca lines themselves, are the work of human hands. The Nazca performed what archaeologists called artificial cranial deformation, a practice that involves binding, which Matthew had mentioned, the skulls of infants when they're pliable to create an altered skull shape that lasts into adulthood. It's a practice found among ancient people around the world, thought to have been used as a kind of in group marker to differentiate a tribe from outsiders, or perhaps as a signal of social status within a tribe. Researchers think it's unlikely to have effective cognitive capacity or health. The real mystery of Peru's desert drawings. Antone, I did read about it. Matthew goes, maybe a tree of life. Chris goes, is that like a xenomorph? Emily Parkinson's goes, that's horrible. But I mean, if it's a tradition or like a, I mean, I wouldn't want to do that. But if it's a tradition, they don't know exactly like um why the tribe had done that, but with the binding of the head. But if it is like part of the culture, then people aren't going to see it any different. I mean, from out the outside view, we're going to be like, oh my god, that's horrible. But for them, it was a way of life. So I mean, they said to maybe differentiate them from different tribes or as a status symbol. So I'm still wondering like exactly why they did that. It's kind of interesting though if you think about it too. So this is another Nazca depiction depiction depiction. Oh my god. Depiction of a whale. The heat is getting to me, guys. I apologize. Though it's clear how Peru's Nazca lines were made, one thing remains a mystery as why. In the years following their discovery, archaeologists favored astronomical explanations. Paul Kozik and Maria Reich, some of the earliest to study the Nazca lines, hypothesized that the furrows had been made to indicate the places on the horizon where the sun and moon would rise and set on important holidays, like a kind of enormous calendar. The geoglyphs were thought to represent earthly constellations like the ones in the night sky. In recent years, however, scholars have begun to doubt astronomical interpretations of the marks, pointing to the fact that most of the lines aren't easily tied to celestial happenings. National Geographic's Johann Reinhard or Renhard, thinks it's more likely the lines were markers of the sites of religious rituals, especially those centered around water. In such a dry climate, water would have been a going concern for the Nazca, a preoccupation some archaeologists sees in the biomorphs the ancient people chose to carve into the earth. Here's one as a hummingbird. That is an interesting looking hummingbird. Spiders and many Andine cultures are associated with rain, and animals like monkeys and hummingbirds would have appeared in nearby jungles where water was plentiful. It's almost impossible to know why the Nazca built the lines without more evidence. Researchers, however, are hopeful that with the advent of new technology, especially high tech drones like the ones Peruvian archaeologists used to discover 50 new lines in 2018, answers are just around the corner. All it takes is a fresh perspective. That was kind of cool. I never heard of the Nazca lines. What's up, Kyle? How's it going? So what did you think of the Nazca lines? Do you think, I know Chris had said, I believe Matthew had said too, they're not alien related. Do any of you believe that it's alien uh related, or do you believe it's just the Nazca people created them? Matthew goes, the lines were mentioned in the Crystal Skull. Ooh. I mean, I watched that film. I think I watched that film once. I never went back to it. Daniel, what's up? Nazca wearer by Maybelline eye makeup. Heather, whatever goes, I don't know. I had a friend who was obsessed with them. They're pretty cool. I think it's the people had put had created these. I don't know for what reason. Maybe because a lot of tribes, they're very I want to say they're very spiritual based, so they're very they believe in gods, so maybe they were trying to appease the gods. They were very much like, if we do this it would bring water, if we do this it would bring fire, or stuff like that. So maybe it was something to appease the gods. I know that article didn't mention it, but that kind of, it reminds me of something like that. That maybe they were appeasing to um, the spirits. Kyle, you survived. Emily goes, that makes more sense. It does. I know that article didn't mention it, but that makes more sense to me um than it being alien. And but that article also said no, it's not alien. It is the people. It's possible for the people, the Nazca people, to could have created these, but they didn't give like an exact like um reason as to why. Lisa Boo goes, it's fascinating either way. True, it is. It's very fascinating. I wouldn't mind seeing those one day. That's kind of cool. That would be cool to see, like up from an aerial view. I don't think they let anybody go down on the ground, obviously, to preserve it. But they might have like aerial but I don't know if I trust the planes over there. I don't know. I barely trust the planes here. Joanne, thank you. And good luck with your surgery tomorrow, Joanne. Hope for a speedy recovery. Heather, whatever goes, me too. I love flying, but not Boeing. I have one more article I want to share. This has been popping up. It's not about UFOs or anything, but it's about a ghost ship um that has appeared, and it's all over uh when I search ghost in the news. So it's a ghost ship that belongs to a Texas man whose world sailing dreams might be dashed. And it's like everywhere when I search ghost in the news. So a ghost ship that recently washed up on a Florida panhandle beach was traced to a Texas man who who'll likely lose much of his life savings after purchasing the vessel he had hoped to sell around the world. Francine Farrer couldn't believe her eyes early on the evening of June 18th when a 45-foot sailboat with no one aboard eerily floated toward her family's beach rental in Pensacola. I saw this tattered sailboat. It looked ghostly, just kind of coming in. Farrar said, a 46-year-old Meridian, Mississippi homemaker told NBC News last week. So this is a picture of the ship that just appeared on the beach just out of nowhere. The craft washed ashore, and the strange sight of the sailboat on the sand quickly became a source of neighborhood fascination, said 35-year-old Pensacola resident Allie Garrett. We call it the ghost ship. It quickly became known as the ghost ship across Pensacola Beach, said Garrett, a meteorologist and storm chaser who took multiple photos and drone footage of the prone vessel. Wayward boats are common during Florida's hurricane season as vessels succumb to high winds and get taken off their moorings. We just thought the sailboat broke loose from the marina that someone didn't tie it down well enough, Farrar said. But this beach ship turned out to have a far more complicated journey to where it now sits in Pensacola. Shortly after, locals posted images of the craft on social media. Those pictures gained the attention of a 39-year-old Michael Barlow, whose life was saved weeks earlier during a harrowing Coast Guard rescue in the Gulf of Mexico. Barlow immediately recognized the images and the video to be the Lady Catherine III, which he purchased in Fort Pierce, Florida in May. I knew it was her, Barlow said. The Catherine pushed off from Fort Pierce on May 21st, Barlow said, with plans to dock in Rockport, Texas, where he was closing down an excavation business and selling off belongings to start a new wandering life. We were just going to explore the world, Barlow said of his wife and 9-year-old son. We're normal people. We have normal finances, very, very basic, and this is the only way I could take my son and show him there's a whole world out there beyond what's in America. It's the only way to do this realistically until this happened. Barlow and a friend were headed back to Texas when high winds and massive waves that would eventually become Hurricane Alberto lashed the Catherine and rendered it inoperable. We went through storms one after another, and then that last storm just hit us and exploded my front head sails, Barlow said in an interview from Honduras, where he's temporarily living and teaching scuba. We lost our head sail, we lost our motor, and we were getting turned. It was unforecast and it was devastating. He added, the seas were the craziest thing I ever seen. I've been on the water my entire life, worked on offshore fishing boats, and I've seen some gnarly seas, but this was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. A Garmin satellite communication device was one of the few electric or gas-powered tools not destroyed by crashing seawater, and Barlow was able to get word to authorities on shore that he was stuck in dangerous waters. We were fine right now, but we have no control of the boat, and it's getting worse, Barlow said. Recalling his message to the Coast Guard, we started to get turned sideways. The waves were rolling the boat. There was not much we could do. The Coast Guard in New Orleans said it was alerted to 2 boaters whose vessel became disabled approximately 190 miles south of Panama City on June 1st. A Coast Guard helicopter and surveillance plane from Barlow and his friend on the Catherine officially said, but a boat-to-boat rescue was out of the question in those unstable waters. We can get you right now, but you have to leave the vessel, said Barlow, recalling the choice Coast Guard rescuers gave him. You're definitely rolling the dice on your life if you stay. It was just a bad situation. It was getting progressively worse. Barlow picked a rescue over the boat he purchased for $80,000. Oh my gosh. The aircrew arrived on scene. The helicopter aircrew hoisted the 2-person aboard and transported them to Panama City Airport in Panama City, Florida. A Coast Guard statement said. Barlow said he was reasonably confident the Catherine would show up again, and it did 17 days later and nearly 2,000 miles away. We did our best to leave her in the best condition to make it through the storm, Barlow said. We lashed everything down and we hoped she could ride it out. Now the sailor has nothing but bad choices ahead of him. He could pay $20,000 to have the Catherine taken to dry dock for repairs that could very well total more than its pre-Alberto value. Or he could shell out about $28,000 to simply have the vessel taken away and demolished, which would at least stop the financial hemorrhage. If we're talking about business numbers, it'd make more sense to scrap the boat, Barlow said. That's just the stone cold truth. He's now in talks with state and local officials in hopes of finding a solution in the coming weeks. As the owner of a derelict vessel, Barlow has to move it away or possibly face a third-degree felony punishable by a fine of up to $5,000 and even prison time. Oh, feel sorry for the guy. Yes, our officers have been in contact with Mr. Barlow for Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission spokesperson Faith Fawn said in statement he has 30 days from the date the uniform boating citation was issued to bring the vessel into compliance. Barlow said he's not giving up on his world sailing dreams, even if the Catherine's misadventure cost him so much of his life savings. I feel sorry for this guy. I said I can make another $80,000 and we can carry on with life and try again, or we can sit around here and try to be tough guys and really lose it all. Barlow said of his finally moments on the water aboard the Catherine. This definitely did not shake my resolve as far as sailing goes. I love the ocean. I respect the ocean. It's relentless and beautiful all at the same time. Wow. I feel sorry for that guy because he basically lost his $80,000 boat. And on top of that, they want to fine him if he doesn't move it. Emily goes, if they have $80K for a boat, then they should have pretty damn good insurance. That's what I was thinking too. Shouldn't the insurance cover it? Heather, whatever goes, the man buying my truck smashed it totally, but hadn't changed paperwork as he said he had. I had to surrender it to salvage. People couldn't tow it or fix it. Wow. I would think that too, because if you're spending that much money on a boat, wouldn't you have insurance? And those should have insurance just as much as a car should. It makes sense. All right, guys, I am going to open it up for questions. If you guys have any questions, could be paranormal related, UFO related, could be about anything in general. That's why sometimes you got to be careful with what happened with Heather, whatever. You got to be careful, like even when you're donating a car, because if they don't transfer their name, it comes back to you. So as long as you have the receipts, I mean, you could prove that you weren't of possession of the vehicle, but still, like, to go through that headache, it's like a pain in the ass sometimes. Matthew goes, lost it because of natural disaster, shouldn't be allowed to fine him for something he had no control over. I agree. That's why I was like, the dude just lost his $80,000 boat, almost like cost him his life. You know, he's lucky to be alive. He had to leave the boat. He had no choice. And now you want to find him if he doesn't remove it from the beach in 30 days? Or actually, no, it says find him to get it back into proper condition. Like, what is that? Chris Barber goes, what are you looking forward to the most next weekend? Not the heat. No, just having a blast. I always have a blast at Mad Monster. So I'm looking forward to seeing all the vendors. Seeing what celebrity I run into in the lobby or the elevator. My Dutch Brothers coffee, meeting some of you that are able to go. I cannot wait. Emily's asking, what's the next paranormal thing you're thinking about doing? I have to think about that one, Emily, because usually it takes me a while to do some research and find what I'm going to talk about next. It's usually what I find interesting. So maybe aliens, I don't know. Carol goes, always get a legal bill of sale, even if they don't change info, at least you have proof. Exactly. As long as you've got proof that you sold the vehicle with a date on it, and then it ends up getting a ticket 3 days later, you can prove that you didn't have possession of the car or whatever it may be. Daniel goes, no, I have not done the Tesla test. I need to do that. I still have that. Thank you, Daniel. I still do have that. I haven't done that yet. I want to go, now that I'm thinking, I want to go walk through a cemetery. Most of them close at night, so I'd rather, I don't want to be trespassed. So just to go to a cemetery to do a walkthrough. I like cemeteries though, which seems weird, but older cemeteries. I find older cemeteries fascinating because the headstones and the I want to do that one day. Daniel goes, not wanting to get kicked out of cemetery seems funny. Well, I'm talking about trespassed. Or being accused of something that I didn't do. Because, if you're in the place and something happens, and if you were in the wrong place at the wrong time, all right, not to say that this would happen, but if, say, like something got robbed or burglarized, not robbed is from the person, but burglarized, and I wasn't the one that did it, but someone did and they got away and they saw me, they'll accuse me of it. I don't want to be accused of it. So I don't want to be somewhere. I don't want to be somewhere where I'm not supposed to be after dark if I don't have permission. Chris goes, come to my house and you can spend all the time you want. Heather, here they do. Heather Salvatore goes, they don't close here at night here in New England. They do here. Like every cemetery, they close at 5. I was like, what the hell do you close at 5? I know there's one I want to go to. It says they close at 5. I'm like, Emily goes, too bad you're not in Illinois. Bachelor's Grove is a good one. You already did the Resurrection Mary story. Chris goes, there's just a fence. You just have to hop. Yeah, here they tend to close the cemeteries. I think they want to keep the bad people. I think they want to keep the homeless out and the riffraff out. But I'm sure the riffraff still go in from defacing the property or whatnot. Heather, whatever goes, no creepy parties in the cemetery at night. Carol goes, the people who burned me the most was my own family when it came to money or help. I know that sucks though, but it tends to be someone, in general, I have to say, because I've heard so many people, not just you, Carol, but in general, it's usually someone that burns you. And that's the sad thing. Daniel goes, defense won't stop ghosts. That's true. Chris goes, technically mine closes at dark, but people still go in. Kyle goes, who's going to stop you? The ghost? A gate will stop me, Chris. The ones around here have gates. I am not kidding you. They have gates going all the way around. So the gate will stop me. They're not like they're not an open cemetery. Like, there's big old gates surrounding the property. But true, I agree with you, Kyle. Who's going to stop me? Chris goes, there's no gate on mine. If there's no gate on one, I would go. But all the ones I see or drive by, they have big gates. I mean, tall gates. And a guard standing in front of it. Well, one of them does, not all of them. Daniel goes, gates are for climbing. Heather, whatever ghosts have a 20-foot high limit. Emily goes, Bachelor's Grove is an abandoned cemetery. No fences. You should look that one up. Huh. That's cool. And Daniel also goes, fences are for jumping. Okay, what if I said the fence had spikes on the end of it? No, one of them didn't. One of them looked like you could just jump over, but some of them, they have like these like elaborate gates on, and I'm like, I'm like, Final Destination 25. No. It's funny. The other day I was driving and there was this ice, like those igloo ice chests, the little ones that people take for lunch, right? The guy put it was a work truck, an open bed work truck, and the guy had it like on the end. And every time he stopped, I saw it move. And I was like, oh, hell no, I am not driving behind this dude. Final Destination 25. Forget this. I'm going to be the one that gets hit by it. No one else. Heather Renner goes, did Lewis tell you about the chase chat today? Talk about possessed. We were possessed by fart jokes? No. Oh, that sounds cool. Bachelor's Grove. Let me write that one down. Carol goes, when I was growing up, most of the cemeteries had gates, but no fences, just low stone walls, easy to get over. Here are the big ones. Big galvanized fences. Emily goes, I'll never drive behind a log truck ever again. Luckily, I don't see too many log trucks here in SoCal, but I do see those utility trucks that sometimes they have the long planks of wood. They're a carpenter or something. So I'm like, nope. Daniel goes with gargoyles at the entrances of the gates. Yes. No, I'm just kidding, Daniel. I like gargoyles. They're cool. I actually have some in my room. I have a gargoyle, and then I have like a tombstone with a gargoyle on it. But if I did see one, Emily, nope. I actually had someone had one of those, like those Gatorade coolers, the beverage coolers. I don't know if you guys are familiar with those. Someone had one of those on the back of their or no, it wasn't that. It was a bucket. My bad. It was a bucket. But I see those too, and I'm like, no, it was a bucket, and it actually came off. And I don't know. I swear, I thought I ran over it, but when I pulled over off the side, because I couldn't move, there was no way there. I couldn't move out of the way. Um, and I pulled over and I was like, oh, nothing. Maybe it bounced and went that way. But it literally bounced out of his truck and it was a white bucket and it went onto the road. And I was like, Lisa Boo goes, I see trucks with metal pipes all the time here. And like, nope, not driving behind those. Chris goes, I won't drive behind a car carrier either. Oh, if I'm behind a car carrier, I'm like, oh, I want to hitch a ride. Wow, sorry to hear, Heather. Whatever. My cousin was in a car hit by a log truck. It killed him. My mom drove lumber trucks when she was in high school for my grandpa. She was 5 feet tall, no doubt sat on phone books. Wow, sorry to hear that, Heather. Whatever. Kyle goes, any gargoyle with the voice of Keith David is always gold in my books. Ah, there's ants on my laptop. Why? And I don't eat in here. Daniel goes, you're a smart driver. My car crash videos, they show people they would rather crash into a car than smash into a bucket. What? Also, too, there was like a cardboard box in the road, and there was the guard because I was in the fast lane. So there was a guardrail here. Then there was a Tesla on this side that had just gone into the lane, and I couldn't, there's no way I could have gone around. I had to hit it. I heard it. It went push, but it must have been empty because I was like, oh, good. I was just thinking, oh crap, what if something was in it? Chris goes, ghost ant. I wish they're actual ants. I don't know why they would. I don't eat in here, so I don't know why they would be in here. They're looking for water. There's no water in here either. Heather, whatever, it's going to rain. Maybe ants come in. No, I think it's because it's hot outside. I'm not as hot in some areas, but it's hot, and they're just looking for water. Daniel goes, the ants are data mining. Kyle goes, my great aunt's husband was killed when an excavator on a flatbed truck came loose and crushed his car. I know, Final Destination vibes, but this was way back in the 50s or 60s. Wow. Sorry to hear that, Kyle. Wow, that is crazy. All right, note to self, I am not going to drive behind a truck with an excavator on it. Whoa. That, Carol, that's why I always see a carrier moving. I want to just go, or like a tow truck. I'm like, oh. I was like, wait, let me jump on. Think it would be cool and you're waving at people. All right, guys, any last minute questions before I end this stream? Chris goes, duck. All right, skeleton duck. Thank you for reminding me, Heather, whatever, and Chris. I always forget. Skeleton duck is right there. If I move my mic arm out of the way, he is right there, right where my finger is pointing. You could just basically see his face. And thank you, Lisa Boo, for also reminding me, because I forget. So he is like right there, right where my finger is, on the other side of my mic arm. So he's like right here. Yes, he's above the creature. On top of my stay spooky sign that I should light up, but I don't light up. I should move it and light it up so you guys can see it. Maybe I'll put it on this side. I just thought of that. I was like, wait a minute, I have a stay spooky sign in, and it's not, I don't light it up. Emily goes, I finally found the damn duck. I put him in, I did an easy one this time around. Thank you, Lisa Boo. Appreciate that. All right, guys, I am going to end the stream here. Thank you for joining me on this edition of Grayson Report. I hope you guys had a great 4th of July for those who celebrate. I will see you on the next one, which will be Saturday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Be there, be squared. Stay spooky and sweet nightmares, guys. Thank you, guys, and good night, and have a good one. Good night, guys.